Hey guys, it's Manda Panda. Welcome back to another custom My Little Pony tutorial. And today's pony is inspired by Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas. To make the Pumpkin King, I'm going to be using this Shining Armor figurine. And you can see that Shining Armor is missing his horn. I bought him off of eBay like that, and I got him for a really good price since he is defective. So sorry about the missing horn, Shining Armor. But since Jack Skellington doesn't have a horn, I thought he would be perfect for this custom. I'm starting off by removing his cutie mark and eyes with some acetone. This particular figurine does not have rooted hair like all of my other customs, so you don't actually have to remove the head here, but I'm doing it because it's going to make customizing the head a lot easier. So I'm going to see if I can pull this off in the same way I always do my other ponies, by twisting it to the side. And really weird, that neck plug has like a piece of string coming out of it. I don't know why. Now I'm going to remove his tail, and to do this I'm using some scissors to cut off as much of the tail as I possibly can, and then I'm going to go in with some smaller scissors, cut it down even shorter, and then see if I can press the rest of the tail back into the body. And there it goes, just like that. So I'm going to reroute it using a different method than I normally use. And you can see that's where the tail will go later. And now for the hair on this head. You can see inside there's no hair on the inside like there normally is. It looks like it's just a strip of fuzzy hair glued onto the head. So I'm going to grab my pliers here and just pull off all of Shining Armor's fluffy blue hair. So here's all the hair. It was just a strip that came off pretty easily, but there's a lot of fuzzies left in the glue on the head. I'm going to pull off as much as I can and then grab a cotton swab with some acetone, and I'm just going to run that downwards to lay all of that hair flat down. With the hair removed, I've been left with this huge indented section at the back of the head, so I'm going to fill that in using Sugru, which is air dry rubber that is also a glue. So once it dries, it adheres itself to whatever you've put it on, so that eliminates an entire step for me because I don't have to go back and glue something onto the pony's head. I also really like Sugru over air dry clay because it does not shrink when it dries. Take a piece of that Sugru and start working it into that indentation at the back of the head. Use your fingers to evenly distribute it throughout the entire back of the head. Go past the lines of the indentation and it will honestly look like it was never there. It looks really nice. There's a slight color difference, but overall it looks really good. Sugru does have to set for about 24 hours, so I'm going to put the head to the side and let it dry overnight. And movie magic, it's the next day. You can see the Sugru has completely dried. It's nice and hard. You cannot scratch it, and the entire head is ready to be customized. The first step is going to be to even out the color difference between the head and the Sugru. So using some Sally Hansen nail polish in white on, I'm going to cover the head in 2 coats of paint. And now that you see it, it looks so awesome. Once the color difference is gone, this head looks like it never even had that huge indentation at the back. I love this. This came out so nice. Let's keep customizing. The next part is going to be Jack Skellington's mouth, which is a stitched up black smiling mouth. So I'm using some black acrylic paint here, and I am just kind of drawing a rough sketch of that mouth area. And I've switched over to some black Sugru, rolled out really small little lines of it, and I'm using that for the stitches of Jack Skellington's mouth. And I'm choosing to use the Sugru for stitches instead of just painting them on because this is going to give it a really cool 3D textured effect. And these stitches look so cool. Now I'm going to give him 2 black nostrils right at the front of his head, just like Jack Skellington. And once those are in, I'm going to go ahead and pop in the eyes, which are honestly just big black circles. You can leave the eyes solid black if you want, but I'm going to go in with a white oil pastel and give the eyes a little shadow in the corner just to break up the stark black. And then I'm going to use a Q-tip to diffuse the color a little bit and kind of make it fade better. And that just gives the eyes a little bit more depth. The final step is going to be completely covering all of the work with clear nail polish to seal everything in. Now it's time to work on the body. I have some nail striping tape that I've put onto the body in the shape of a V, just like Jack's tuxedo at the front. I'm using my favorite black nail polish. This is Sally Hansen in Black Heart, and I'm going to cover the entire body with it. This nail polish is so great. All you need is 1 coat and it's going to give you complete opaque coverage. So let's paint this entire body black for Jack's tuxedo. And I'm gonna paint the front part of the V really quickly, and while the nail polish is still wet, remove that nail striping tape. I learned that the hard way. If you wait until the polish is dry, it will pull up the polish. And make sure that the nail polish has completely dried before you move on to the next step. You don't want to mess up all of your hard work. So here's the body completely covered in black. It looks really neat. That V-neck instantly makes it look like a tuxedo of some sort. Now I'm going to start working on Jack Skellington's long coat tail. And for this part, I have decided to go with air dry clay since it would take way too much sugru and I don't have enough. So I'm just going to roll out a long thin piece of the clay. And I've cut out a rectangular section and I'm going to measure it along Jack's back to see if it's wide enough. And that is actually almost the perfect size. So I'm going to leave it like that. It's a little big, but since it'll shrink as it dries, I think it's going to be perfect. Now I'm just going to measure the length almost to the floor, but not quite. I'm going to cut off the excess at the end there and then use my X-Acto knife to freehand all the little slits that Jack has at the hem of his coat. Now let's try the coat back on Jack. I thought that the little slits did need to be higher, so I'm cutting them a little bit more, and that is a perfect fit. I'm going to let this clay dry while it's still on the pony so it retains the shape. On a separate piece of clay, I've used a toothpick to roughly sketch out the shape of Jack Skellington's bow tie that has the bat in the middle. And I'm just going to cut that out with my knife here. And I've made this a little bit bigger than I think it needs to be since it is going to shrink as it dries. While the clay's drying, I'm going to finish working on his body. Using some striping tape, I've mapped out the area of his collar and and his shoes. Now in between those areas of blue, I'm going to use some nail striping polish, which is just regular nail polish with a different type of brush. It's a very fine brush. And I'm going to freehand all of the pinstripes on Jack Skellington's suit. And please notice that I am not taking the stripe past the blue striping tape. I have all the stripes in and this looks so awesome. Now I'm going to finish up his collar area. The stripes on his collar actually go in a different direction than the rest of the stripes on the suit. These stripes go in a diagonal direction, pointing downwards like this. So I'm just going to draw all of these stripes in, and with the different directions of the stripes, it really defines the entire collar area. After all the stripes have been drawn on, I'm going to go in and remove the striping tape very, very carefully. This looks so neat. You can really tell where the stripes stop and his shoes start. If you want, you can be completely finished with the body at this point, but I am going to go in and add some very, very thin strips of sugru around the outline of the collar just to define it a little bit more. The sugru really makes that collar pop out. I'm also going to add a small button using some white sugru, and once it has all completely set and dried, I'm going to cover the entire body with a layer of clear nail polish to seal all of my work in. Now the air dry clay pieces have completely dried, so I'm going to be covering them in the same black nail polish I used for the body. And then I'm going to take a fine paintbrush and some white acrylic paint to draw in the stripes and all of the details. And once all of the white details have been put in, I'm going to cover both the back of the coat and the bow tie with a layer of clear nail polish to seal all of the work in. Jack is almost done. It's time for his tail. I'm going to be using this hair from dollyhair.com in bright white called Snow. I'm going to take a piece of it that's 1/4 the length of the original strand, and I'm going to twist tie this entire bunch of hair together very firmly. It's very important that you tie this twist tie super tight, because if you don't, some of that hair can get loose. Now I'm going to take some Gorilla Glue and generously apply it all along the area of the twist tie, and then press that twist tie into the tail hole at the back of Jack's body, and then use some tweezers to press that hair into the hole. The Gorilla Glue expands as it dries, so since I put so much of it on the twist tie, as it dries it'll expand and it'll safely hold all of that hair inside of the body. The last step is putting the Pumpkin King back together. I'm going to put his head on first. I'm just going to press it back onto the body, just like I just pulled it off at the beginning, and then glue all of the clay pieces on using some Gorilla Glue. And here he is, the custom Jack Skellington pony. He looks creepy, he looks scary, he came out so great. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial and that it helps you make your own Jack Skellington. Thank you so much for watching, little pandas. Until next time, bye. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure that you check out the custom Sally video that's up on my channel right now, because you can't have the Pumpkin King without Sally. You can find me online. For the latest news and updates for the channel, you can follow me on Instagram, Manda Panda Toy Collector, like my Facebook page, facebook.com/Manda Panda Toy Collector, or you can add me on Snapchat